Hey, everybody. How are you today? Today is June 14, Saturday, June 14, 2025. And thanks for coming on into the classroom. Those of you who are trickling in at the moment. Going to be doing today part 5 of the Stop Eating CRAP series again, which we're coming to the end to. I'm getting end of, which I'm kind of glad of. I'm getting a little weary of talking about all of these things that we're getting into our bodies that we don't want. But it's also been really fun for me and very enlightening. It's changed my habits, especially when it comes to really rooting out sugar, which I was not a big sugar person. So I have to start by saying that. So I'm just saying, like, I was always not a big sugar person, but yeah, it's like none. That was really, really good. Learned about allulose, which I've been really telling people about to use as a functional food for keeping, for helping with metabolic. Okay, so if you're diabetic, number one, or pre-diabetic or whatever, this is definitely, you need to be doing this, right? Just very easy. It's a sweetener that's completely legal. It's really good for your liver, for your keeping your blood sugar down. So when you're eating a meal, you're already being responsible, right? But you're eating a meal. You want to keep your blood sugar, glucose level, and your insulin level like this, not like this, right here. And good for losing belly fat, good for regulating your lipids, really wonderful. And it's, anyway, so I talked about that in part wrapping up sweeteners, which was 2 weeks ago, or it was 2 webinars ago, whenever that was. Anyway, so yeah, it's been really good. Today, I've got to talk about plastic, these plastics and plastic. When you think about it, I mean, we have to have plastic. The Yucca app has been a huge help to weed out some of the bad things in my kitchen and find, okay, so this is Karen in the chat, and finding a better alternative. Thanks for recommending it. So we're talking about the app. That must be Karen. By the way, Pastor Karen just typed into the chat, which you can do too. You'll be part of this whole conversation, or you can raise your hand. I'll call on you, you can talk, we can hear you, or you can type into the Q&A. But anyway, the Yucca app has been a huge help to weed out some of the bad things in my kitchen and finding a better alternative. Thanks for recommending it. And this is kind of cool because I know that you, Karen, a couple of years ago, you and your husband went through and you started like really changing your habits anyway. And you're the one who does all the, I'll have to put that in my email later that will talk about the video being released. I'll put because you sent me the canned foods. Oh, actually, I could just do it now. I'll do it when I'm sharing my screen. I could pull those up. Okay. Doing all of the canning and stuff like major canner. Yeah, so the Yucca app, and that's one of the ones that you can use, and you go and you can read the labels and then see what you don't want in there. But Karen, does it also, and then it also offers you like alternatives? That's really cool. I'm sure she'll answer me. So yeah, so before we dive into plastics, the big thing with me is we know these things are in our environment, they're in our foods. Certain things we can avoid. We can avoid the foods for the most part, unless you're saying an occasional restaurant meal or something like that. But you might not be sure of everything, but we can control what goes into our mouths for the most part. Some of the things in our environment are not so easy to control. And we're going to find that about plastics and microplastics today because they are ubiquitous. They are everywhere, and they're not just in the foods we eat. Yeah. So, but the good news, okay, so Karen is back on the subject of the Yucca app. Yes, it shows better alternatives and what is the issue or ingredient in the food is if it is something you want to avoid. So right there, major educational tool. I think it would be so helpful for everyone, really. So that's the Yucca app. Karen, is that the one that is the Bobby, the RFK Jr. app that he recommends that I was talking about? Because I know there's different ones out there. Yes, she said, yeah, that's it. So the Yucca app, it's YUKA, everybody. So if you want to check that out, if you don't have it already, you want to download it, put it on your phone. you're shopping or you're going through your pantry. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful tool. Okay, so again, I'll introduce myself, Becky Montrone. We have a business here in Keene, New Hampshire called Wondrous Roots, which I founded some 20 years ago based on my love of natural health and specifically nutrients, things that we can use therapeutically, nutrients to put into our bodies to change our future, regardless of our genetics or whatever, epigenetics. So if you change if you know what your genes aren't doing for you, go in and do it another way. So the great power we have by things by things we know and changes we make, and this what we're talking about today is certainly one of them. We can take control of our health, and we really can. And I say that even if you're a person who already has degenerative disease processes going on, or even if you're like midlife and you're like, wow, I knew nothing about this stuff, you can make dramatic changes wherever you are. And that is the empowering thing. And that's why I love doing these Saturday webinars. That's why my greatest passion in what I do, even in my client work, is sharing information that gives power. So like, I'm not the kind of practitioner that goes, okay, give me your health problem list. I'll give you your vitamin list. Bye. No. Far from it. It's in fact, those of you who work with me, no, you get sometimes a deluge of information. You're like, okay, someday maybe I'll have time to read this. But that is what I love. And so that's what these programs are all about. And anyway, so the practice here is, so what do? I have a degree in holistic nutrition, and I am certified through the American Association of Drugless Practitioners as a certified holistic healthcare practitioner. My focus is on definitely diet. Lifestyle is huge. So your lifestyle habits, whether it be your diet or exercise or things like things that are bad, like drinking and smoking and stuff like that. So those things are all foundational. Those are kind of the wondrous roots. So you don't want to put a cherry on top of garbage, if you will, right? So you got to clean that up first, right? But then we use nutrients, amino acids, vitamins, minerals, tripeptide, all kinds of different things that we can use in a therapeutic fashion to really give us a cutting edge fighting against all of these things that are coming at us and the things from within our own genetic constitutions. The cool thing is, as I'm studying about what do we do about these microplastics in our bodies, guess what? It's the same things I talk about all the time. Oh yes, glutathione is going to have a huge spotlight today. But again, it's the same things we're doing to thwart Alzheimer's, to thwart diabetes, to thwart Parkinson's, to thwart cancer, all along the line. It comes down to very similar things. And that's the good news, because if we're already doing those things for those of other things or whatever, for just proactive, prevent disease lifestyle, we're already dealing with the plastics within. So that's the good news. That's the really good news. So anyway, I'm going to, without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. It feels like I am going to cough. So hang on one second. I'm back. When I share the screen, you can type into the chat like Karen did to participate. You can type into the Q&A and you can raise your hand and I'll call on you. I think that's just about it. If you are listening, viewing on the first time, YouTube, Rumble, and you've never heard of Wondrous Roots, again, we're here on 103 Roxbury Street in Keene, New Hampshire. The phone number here is 603-439-2603. you can reach out to me as well from either of my two websites, one being wondrousroots.org, which is the informational, educational part of Wondrous Roots, and then shopwondrousroots.com, which is all of these wonderful products we have here. I'm also an herbalist. We do a lot of herbal medicine, and you can check us out, either of those websites, and find out more about us. And you can also find previous topics and webinars on YouTube, or my YouTube or Rumble channel. Just type in YouTube Wondrous Roots, or YouTube Rumble Wondrous Roots, or something like that, and you should be able to find me. Okay, I think that's it. Now, let's see. Okay, we're all set to go here. I'm going to share my screen again. Great to have you all with me today. It's always fun to see my students, and I have my regular core who are always here. Okay, the plastics within, share. And I was going to share, just hang on one second. I want to get Karen. I want to get Karen's canning photos. So hang on. Everybody just bear with me for a second. She is 2025. Okay, now I wonder if I can switch my share. Whoops, share my screen to that first. Okay, I'm going to go to this first. I've got to pull it where I can work with it. Whoops, no, I don't want to do that. Hang on. Cancel. Okay, hang on. And now I want to make it bigger. Okay. There's Karen can tell us about this. Wow. That is quite the freezer. Look at all of that. Whoa. And the pantry. Wow. I think if I go smaller, yeah. And then, oh, wow. I mean, I am so totally impressed. That's at the end of her canning season last year. Now she's revving up for another one. So fantastic. Okay, now I'm going to get back to the plastics within. All right, let's see here. Okay, everybody just bear with me. Yeah, I just stopped because there was nothing to share. Okay, hang on. Just a little detour, but well worth it. Okay, get rid of this and this, and go back to finding my PDF, which I had put right over here. Okay, there it goes. All right, we're back to where we started now. I can screen share here, share. Okay. All right, so off we go. Again, get my chat over here where I can see you guys. And get my participants over here. Okay, fantastic. All right, the plastics within and how to get them out. Again, that's the most important thing. We can talk, forever about, how we need to get rid of plastics and blah, 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 blah. We can't get rid of plastics. I'm going to tell you right now. Think about it. Look around you and just look around you in a small space and see what would be gone if we didn't have plastic. And you understand that we're never going to be able to get rid of plastic. And we really don't want to. We need to know how to coexist with plastic. Anyway, what is plastic? Plastic is a synthetic material made from long chains of polymers, large molecules composed of repeating structural units derived primarily from petroleum or natural gas. And these polymers can be molded into shape when soft and retain their form once hardened. So you can see that they would be very, very useful to many areas of industry. The core characteristics, they are lightweight, durable, flexible, or rigid. So we just saw Karen's like Ziploc bags in the freezer, flexible. Rigid would be like a Tupperware container. Resistant to water, chemicals, and electricity. Cheap to produce. A little bonus in the world of words. The word plastic comes from the Greek plastikos, meaning capable of being shaped or molded. So like when we talk about the brain is plastic, you're like, oh, no, the brain is plastic. We're talking about the plasticity of neurons, of brain cells, that they're able to be influenced and molded. We are a little bit later going to be talking about actual microplastic in the brain, but that's not what I was getting at there. So I found this really interesting. Like, I'm always curious when I talk about something like this. I always want to learn more. Like, how did plastics come to be? And in the beginning. So here we go. The birth of plastic. 1907, Leo Blakelin invents Bakelite, the first fully synthetic plastic. The purpose was a substitute for shellac, which was then they were using beetle secretions to make, right? Okay, so advantages, it was cheap, it was moldable, it was non-conductive, and it was durable. So some of the first things that you can think of that we know of that use Bakelite, right, are these phones, the old-fashioned phones, the rotary phones. Here's some other Bakelite things. The very first phonograph records, they eventually turned to vinyl, but vinyl is another plastic. But that was Bakelite in the beginning, the Bakelite bread holder, the Bakelite bangle bracelets, these types of, radios and things. And then the 1930s and 1940s, this nylon, polyester, like styrofoam, polyester, plexiglass were introduced. World War II, parachutes, aircraft components, radar insulation, and the post-war consumer boom of Tupperware, vinyl, synthetic textiles, polyester clothing, right? So here we go. So there's a retro picture, right? Tupperware everywhere. Yeah, the nicest thing that could happen to your kitchen, Tupperware. You see the leave it to beaver kind of scenario, family scenarios there. Although that looks like when I was growing up. Of course, I was born in 58, so yeah. And then we had the polyester clothing, polyester, so many things, vinyl records. So a lot of useful things made of plastic. Now, the modern plastic age plastic is into everything, the 1950s and upward, global explosion in production. Single-use culture takes hold, and that's where we are today, a lot of single-use things. And those who are trying to minimize plastic right now, we're kind of going after the single-use stuff that you use once and throw away. Packaging, grocery bags, utensils, 90+ billion tons of plastic produced to date. Most is still with us because getting it here is one thing, breaking it down and disposing of it, getting it off the planet is quite another. So the plastic paradox, right? Can't live with it, can't live without it. We got huge pros, okay? Medical devices. Just think about walking into a hospital, or think about the last time you were in a hospital, maybe visiting someone or in there yourself. What are you going to do without the IV tubes, right? What are you going to do without all that stuff? I mean, that's just like one example. How would things be delivered, right? So sanitation, food preservation, technology, how are you going to do that without plastic? Pretty impossible. So anyway, it was, I guess, never meant to be disposable, but you got to dispose of it. You have to. You can't use somebody's IV line a second time, or something that you catheterize them with so that they could remove the urine from their bodies when they can't urinate. So the plastic pros, Performance plastics. Plastics have revolutionized nearly every aspect of modern life, offering remarkable benefits that are often overlooked in the shadow of environmental concerns. I mean, it's easy to jump on something and say, wow, this is really bad. Let's just get rid of it. But it's another thing to, like I've been pointing out, lightweight yet incredibly durable plastics have enabled advancements in medicine. Think sterile syringes, IV bags, prosthetics. People with, artificial limbs and things that are made of the harder plastics, while also improving food preservation and safety through hygienic packaging. Their versatility and affordability have made them essential in transportation, reducing vehicle weight and thereby improving fuel efficiency. From the insulation in our homes to the smartphones in our hands, plastics have made possible a level of convenience, hygiene, and innovation that would be nearly impossible without alternative materials. As this Big Think article points out, the very qualities that make plastics problematic, resilience, and low cost, are also what make them indispensable to the infrastructure of daily life. It is what it is, and it is that way. And if you want to look, this was a pretty cool article, looking at plastics from very many sides, which I think is always a good thing to do, to look at issues from more than just my bias perspective. But anyway, talks here about, let me just talk here about, gosh, I hate pop-ups. That's why you will never go to my website. Probably seems really boring compared to others, but I'm telling you, I can't stand it when I'm on a website and I keep getting things popped up in my face. So you'll find no pop-ups at Wondrous Roots. We ban pop-ups at Wondrous Roots. Anyway, I want to find trees. Oh, come on. I know I saw that. Forest. Yeah, like this. Owing to their lightweight, plastics make vehicles and aircraft more fuel efficient, reducing atmospheric carbon dioxide emissions. Their widespread use in clothing. More than 60% of the fibers produced worldwide are synthetic, means that animal furs are unnecessary, and we don't need to get all our textiles from farming silk and cotton. We also don't require tracts of rubber plantation when synthetic rubber is available, thus preventing deforestation. But it also talked about paper. If we switch to paper over plastic, we would need more forests to harvest timber, and shifting to metal food containers over plastic would require more mining. As a result, we would need more pesticides, water, and energy to access plastics from renewable resources. In short, synthetic plastics prevent widespread habitat destruction. So that is really another side of the coin. We could say, but they're good, they're convenient for us, and we're just consumers and we love convenience, but it's bad for the environment. No, in some ways, plastics take a load off the environment. So anyway, I don't have any great answers for all of this stuff, and that's not my purpose anyway. That's not my field, right? That's not my area of expertise. I'm just going to talk about how to deliver ourselves, protect ourselves, and and kind of deliver ourselves from plastic. Plastic cons, again, despite their many benefits, plastics come with a steep environmental and health price tag that is becoming harder to ignore. Their durability, once a selling point, means they persist into ecosystems for centuries, fragmenting into microplastics that infiltrate soil, water, and even the human body. Discarded plastics choke wildlife, pollute oceans, and overwhelm landfills, with only a small fraction ever being truly recycled. As highlighted in that Big Think article, the paradox is stark. The very qualities that make plastics so useful also make them nearly impossible to eliminate cleanly. We now face the challenge of managing a material that has outpaced our ability to control its impact, and that is just sickening. So creating plastic, not difficult. Most of the plastic life cycle is pretty straightforward. Raw materials such as oil, coal, and methane gas are extracted from the earth through some combination of drilling, mining, and fracking. These materials are then refined through a variety of complex chemical processes that render raw materials into resins and nurdles. They're called these little nurdles. I like that word. That word just sounds so cute. Which are small plastic pellets. Manufacturers use these nurdles to create a wide range of products distributed across intricate supply chain networks throughout the world and into the hands of consumers who use and dispose of them. Okay, so a lot of manufacturers, like, they buy the nurdles and massive, like, flats, right? And then they put them into their mills or whatever machine manufacturing processes and big manufacturing plants, and create, we take all these nurdles and make some Tupperware containers or whatever. Getting rid of plastic, polyethylene and polyurethane can take hundreds of years to decompose, if not longer. Current estimates suggest the world produces between 350 and 450 million tons of new plastic waste each year, approximately half of which is composed of single-use plastic. So there's a significant push to focus pollution mitigation efforts on the tail end of the life cycle. So even just getting rid of the single-use things would be like I'm using right here, right? My cup, my disposable cup, and my disposable pipette, which I'm using for straw. So guilty as charged. Okay. Oh, I'm going to tell you something about this, though. I just thought about this within this context, and this is it's a sad story, but it's a very telling story about how you can use these things and not realize how they how they can damage and harm people or animals. So we had a Sheltie, not a Sheltie, we did have a Sheltie at one point in time, but I had a Yorkie. We had a Yorkie, Connor. And we had in the car that I drove, because I would take him with me, a really cool animal car seat. So it was like for a small dog, right? So it sat up like this. And then it had, like, if you wanted to buckle them in, you could. And then, but it was all nice and cushy with a polyester, like, fur, right? But Connor, whenever I would drive up to a toll booth or the teller at the bank or something, he would bark his head off. And as he barked, he would bite the sides of that car seat. So one day, after the car seat had been quite bitten up, and it was a very, very, very cold day, and we were living out at Stoddard, because this was my father had fallen ill. And so we were there. So Stoddard is like 20 miles from Keene, and it's up sort of in the boonies. It's on a lake. And I was going to drive into Keene, and I took Connor with me. And Connor was barking at something as I was doing errands and, doing all of that. Well, anyway, the next day he started throwing up. And I thought, did he get into, antifreeze or something like that? Whatever. I took him to the vet. And long story short, he died very soon after that. And what happening was, over time, he was getting these fibers, and his vomit, when it dried, would have these little fibers in it. And so I took him in to the doctor, and the doctor says, he looks good. He doesn't have a temperature. Let me see. And then he says, let me do a little blood work. And he comes out, and I'm waiting, thinking Connor and I are going to get a prescription or something and just go home. And he said, one kidney of his is gone, and the next one, the foot is in the grave. And long story short, what had been happening to Connor was, over the years that we had had this thing, and he was slowly ingesting these things, he poisoned his kidneys. And we had no clue. So I got in touch with the company. What was the foam made of? It was made of polyurethane. So be really careful. A word to the wise: when you're getting bedding for your animals and stuff, don't buy that stuff that's synthetic. That's where you want to get your cotton and your fillers that are, cotton and stuff like that. I wish I had known, but that's a sobering story, and a very appropriate one for this session. Ubiquity, plastic in the environment and wildlife. We are a world drenched in plastic. We're finding it in the snow on Mount Everest. Let me fix this. You guys know that makes me nuts. Okay, wait a second. I think if I do this and then come down and then go up. Bear with me again, please. Okay, whatever. I need to stop being this way, right? There must be a vitamin for that. 5-HTP, Becky, 5-HTP will get rid of your OCD. All right. Anyway, snow on Mount Everest, ice in the Arctic. We're finding plastics there, air in major cities. It's in the air we breathe, soils, rivers, oceans, even rainwater. Microplastics are plastic particles that are under 5 millimeters. Nanoplastics are even smaller. They're under 100 nanometers. Sources, breakdown of larger plastics, synthetic clothing, tire dust, personal care products. Wildlife are in peril. Ingestion leads to starvation, toxicity, hormonal disruption, found in fish, whales, birds, insects, and more. Plastic bioaccumulates up the food chain, reaching us. So the human invasion, plastic in our bodies. How do we get this again? Inhalation, dust and microfibers, ingestion. So I'm gonna get into highlighting some of the COVID nonsense that we all were afflicted with. And you know where I'm going with that. Ingestion, water, food, and packaging, absorption, skin contact, especially personal care items, exposure routes of the microplastics in our bodies, translocation to distant tissues, disruption of immunity, resulting in disruption of immunity, metabolism alteration, oxidative stress, cytotoxicity, neurotoxicity, carcinogenicity, cancer, right? All of our cells, cytotoxin, neurotoxic, our brain cells, reproductive toxicity. These are phytoestrogens, not phyto. These are xenoestrogens. Phytoestrogens come from plants. Where they're found, where we find them in the brain, the heart, the gut, the testicles, the placenta, the liver, breast milk, semen, urine, and meconium stool. In the first stool that comes out of a newborn, right? We are born pre-polluted. So the potential toxicity of microplastics on human health. Microplastics are plastic particles, films, and fibers, blah, 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 blah. Given their long-standing existence in the environmental and terrible increase in annual emissions, concerns were raised about the potential health and risk of microplastics on human beings. In particular, the increased consumption of masks during the COVID-19 pandemic has dramatically increased human contact with microplastics. I will say that is right there so condemning, so indicting. Really, we forced people to put these things on their faces and breathe them all day long. Most disposable masks, surgical, made of surgical, most disposable masks, surgical KN95 and N95 are made of polypropylene, a plastic known to shed microfibers and microparticles. With normal use, talking, moisture from breath, or friction, these fibers can break free and be inhaled or deposited on the skin or lips. Studies have shown thousands of microplastic particles per mask can be released, especially if worn for long periods. Thank you, thank you. Cloth masks are not always innocent. Many reusable cloth masks contain synthetic fibers, polyester, nylon, which also shed microplastics with wear and washing. Inhaled microplastics may contribute to inflammation of lung tissue, oxidative stress, endocrine disruption due to additives like phthalates and bisphenols, immune dysregulation. Frontline workers and those wearing masks for extended periods likely experienced higher levels of exposure. But think about other people, working at Starbucks or working at, whatever job or going to school. They were wearing them just as long. The whole population, most people. I did not. I think I wore a mask like twice, maybe 3 times. One, I had to go in for a bank appointment and I had to wear a mask. And then I went in for something in a clinic or something, not for myself. I can't remember why. And maybe once in a store. Dale did like most of the shopping, and he didn't mind wearing a mask because he was like, I don't have to be seen by people and talk to them. So, but yeah. And then nanoparticles and hydrogels and COVID testing swabs. What about all the people who were forced to get swabbed every day before they went into work? How about that? Concerns have emerged around the potential presence of nanoparticles and hydrogels in certain COVID-19 nasal swabs, raising questions about unintended exposures during routine testing. Some believe they could contribute to inflammation, barrier disruption, or nanoplastic exposure in sensitive individuals. So there you go. Some COVID-19 testing swabs have been found to contain nanostructured materials, including nylon-based nanoparticles or coated synthetic fibers for structural rigidity and sample collection efficiency. These particles may detach or degrade, particularly with aggressive swabbing or in compromised nasal mucosa. Potential health concerns include mucosal inflammation or irritation, nanoplastic absorption through the thin nasal epithelium, and possible immune sensitization or dysregulation. So, wow. And how many of those were manufactured? I mean, the whole COVID thing was a microplastic nightmare. And so unnecessary because I'm sorry, the masks did not do anything to spread. And nobody should have been forced to be tested before they could go to work. COVID PPE plastics in the environment, kind of a summary, 1.56 billion face masks will enter. Will enter the marine environment in 2020, right? So they have entered the marine environment. The COVID-19 pandemic led to an unprecedented surge in plastic waste, particularly from single-use personal protective equipment like masks, gloves, gowns, and face shields, most of which are made from non-biodegradable plastics such as polypropylene. Estimates suggest that over 129 billion face masks and 65 billion gloves were used globally each month at the height of the pandemic. Much of this PPE was improperly disposed of, ending up in landfills, waterways, and oceans, where it contributes to long-term environmental pollution and microplastic generation. These materials not only threaten wildlife, but also break down into microplastics that further infiltrate ecosystems and the human food chain. So anyway, cellular and genetic chaos. Microplastics enter cells, disrupting gene expression. They promote inflammation, oxidative stress, and immune dysregulation. The long-term implications are still unfolding. I would say the place our population is right now with, what do I want to say, with chronic disease that we've been talking about, between the foods, all those preservatives we talked about last time, the sugars, the artificial sugars and all that stuff, and all this pollution, we have to, I've always said this, we have to protect ourselves from the inside out. It is truly, yes, I mean, there are definitely things you can do to limit exposure. I'm not saying that those things aren't part of it. But we also cannot get away from it all. Damage control, health impacts of microplastics. Hormone havoc. So endocrine disruption. This is why there's so much breast cancer, prostate cancer, endometrial cancer, ovarian cancer, thyroid disease. We have our endocrine system is getting it was very interesting because I had a gentleman come in the other day And he's kind of all new to all of this, but he had some sort of testing done. And he came in looking for dindylomethane. The first thing on yesterday morning. And I was out of DIM. And he said, well, the reason I want this, I said, is it for you? And he said, yes. And I said, so your prostate? And he said, well, I had this functional test. I had some sort of testing done. And I was told that I was high in testosterone, but I was also high in estrogen. And then I was low in DHEA. So anyway, we made an appointment. I'm going to see him shortly to discuss, because I was glad I was out of dindylomethane, because otherwise I would have just sold him a bottle of dindylomethane and never had this conversation. But basically what the conversation came down to is exactly what I'm talking about with regard to where we are hormonally right now. If you're a man, you're going to have to be concerned about your prostate and take steps to protect your prostate. You're also might be interested in knowing why you might have what we call man boobs, or why you have trouble in your sex life. This is all going to endocrine disruption in our environment, in our foods. It is everywhere. And so anyway, this is some of the things that we can, the BPA, the phthalates, the PFAs, mimic or block hormones linked to early puberty, infertility, PCOS, endometriosis, thyroid disorders, and those other things I was talking about, like cancer. And systemic inflammation and organ damage, oxidative stress. So inflammation, as we know, leads to kidney, cardiovascular, brain, lungs, nerves, arthritis, cartilage, musculoskeletal, cerebrovascular, like the cardiovascular in the brain, autoimmune diseases, orological diseases, diabetes, eye diseases, everything. I mean, systemic inflammation damages everything in the body. Luckily, we can use tools proactively to prevent inflammation and to snuff out inflammation. That's the good news. I always like to say this is not a defeatist kind of message. Cancer, brain fog, and beyond, microplastic fragments may damage DNA. You damage DNA, it misbehaves, it mutates, right? Causing cancer. Interfere with cell replication. Cross the blood-brain barrier. Links to gastrointestinal cancers, neuroinflammation, and memory issues. Oh, plenty of that going around today. Plenty of that. I'm sure in your circle of family and friends, you've got plenty of that that you're aware of. It's not unusual. In fact, it happens often, probably more often than not, that I'm talking with a new client, or I'm talking with a client, and they might bring up, because we take a leisurely time together, several either relatives or friends might or know someone with this or whatever. It is more chronic disease, heartbreaking chronic disease is more the rule than the exception. It is not the exception. It is the rule today. The good news, we are not powerless. Natural strategies for detox and repair. And these strategies are the same. This is me. That's my little image of myself in my mind, the glutathione girl. Power, glutathione. But not just glutathione, but glutathione, definitely. Many of us in the Wondrous Roots community are already incorporating these strategies into our daily health regimens. Antioxidants equals cellular armor. So glutathione is the master antioxidant, although you'll see in another slide I have superoxide dismutase is the master antioxidant. So you got SOD, catalase, glutathione, and then, but these, and melatonin, these are all natural antioxidants that we make within ourselves, but we can also take them as supplements in order to have more to deal with a war zone within, if you will. And things like quercetin, melatonin, SOD, catalase, vitamins A, C, and E, omega-3s. So glutathione is the body's master antioxidant and a critical player in detoxification, particularly when it comes to defending against the oxidative stress triggered by microplastics. As plastic particles accumulate in tissues, they generate free radicals and inflammatory responses that can damage DNA, proteins, and cellular membranes. Glutathione neutralizes these reactive species and supports phase 2 liver detoxification, where toxins, including plastic-related compounds like BPA and phthalates, are made water-soluble for excretion. Adequate glutathione levels help protect the body from the cellular havoc caused by microplastic exposure and are especially vital for maintaining immune resilience and reducing long-term toxic burden. Many times people come in and they'll say, what do you have? Do you have any milk thistle? Do you have any dandelion? Or do you have something for herbal liver detox? And I do. And I love those things. You know me, I love herbal medicine. I'm an herbalist. But I will tell people when they ask for things like the liver, I'm like, be on glutathione ongoing, right? So if nothing else, get a multivitamin mineral, a good multivitamin mineral that has your B complex and your trace minerals and everything there that work in synergy with glutathione, and use some acetylglutathione daily. That way you are on a daily basis, as you are bombarded with all this, you know what, you are dealing with an ongoing process of detoxification and elimination. Far better than letting everything build up and then going, to detox, right? Just be always detoxing. That's the bottom line message that I have in all of this. SOD and catalase. At least that one looks right. Superoxide dismutase, here, antioxidant hierarchy. Superoxide dismutase is the master antioxidant. Well, we just learned that glutathione was the master antioxidant. Well, there's a few master antioxidants, and I would put Frank Schallenberger, who uses melatonin in his cancer practice, says melatonin is the master antioxidant. So they're up there together. Our catalases and catalase are two of the body's primary antioxidant enzymes working together to defend against oxidative stress caused by microplastic exposure. SOD converts harmful superoxide radicals into hydrogen peroxide, which catalase then rapidly breaks down into water and oxygen, preventing cellular damage. This enzymatic duo plays a crucial role in neutralizing the reactive oxygen species generated by plastic-related toxins, protecting tissues from inflammation and supporting overall detoxification. Their activity is essential for maintaining cellular integrity, particularly in organs vulnerable to microplastic accumulation, like the brain, liver, and reproductive system. So here you have glutathione CoQ10. Why? Because CoQ10 is made in the body as well, and CoQ10 is constantly re-energizing your mitochondria. The mitochondria need to be nice and healthy and have good energy in order to detoxify well. And we'll get into some of these other things here. You can, even though these are made endogenously in our bodies, you want more, and you could add something like an SOD boosting supplement, right? Or a catalase supplement. Neutralizes hydrogen peroxide. So those would be good, especially if you felt like you needed a detox, right? Add to your glutathione and whatnot and your other things that you're using. Maybe do add that in. These could be added in as an aggressive anti-aging, part of your aggressive anti-aging supplementation routine as well. And so just as you do, like, hey, you know, I just want all this stuff taken care of, those would be good things to add on for those of you who love taking supplements, like me. So the members of the antioxidant super trio work together, right? This is how they work together. Glutathione works in synergy with the antioxidant enzyme superoxide dismutase and catalase to form a frontline defense against oxidative stress, including that triggered by microplastics. But not just that, right? So that's good because we have that going on from a lot of different things. While SOD and catalysts break down reactive oxygen species into less harmful products, glutathione takes over to neutralize remaining free radicals and support the elimination of toxins through liver detox pathways. So they work together. Together, these systems create a layered antioxidant network. SOD starts the process, catalase handles the byproducts, and glutathione finishes the job. ensuring comprehensive protection against cellular damage from plastic-related oxidative stress. Exciting. Okay, we got a problem. We can't clean this all up. We can't clean it all up, but I got to take care of me. All right, that's how you take care of me. Vitamins A, C, and E. Vitamins A, C, and E are powerful antioxidants that work together to protect the body from the oxidative stress and inflammation triggered by microplastic exposure. Vitamin C helps neutralize free radicals in both water-soluble environments like blood plasma, regenerates vitamin E after it has been used. Vitamin E protects cell membranes from lipid peroxidation caused by plastic-related toxins, while vitamin A plays a key role in maintaining the integrity of mucosal barriers such as the gut lining, where microplastics often accumulate. We're going to get into that in a second. Together, these vitamins support immune function, reduce tissue damage, and enhance the body's ability to repair and detoxify from the cellular harm linked to microplastics. Melatonin and plastic detox. Melatonin is best known for regulating sleep, not in the Wondrous roots circle, right? We talk about melatonin a lot for many things, but it's also a powerful role in detoxification, especially against damage from microplastics. As a potent antioxidant, melatonin helps neutralize the oxidative stress caused by plastic-derived toxins like phthalates, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors. It easily crosses cell membranes and even the blood-brain barrier, offering protection to vulnerable tissues like the brain and reproductive organs where microplastics have been found. Melatonin also supports mitochondrial function and enhances the activity of other antioxidants, including glutathione, creating a synergistic defense against inflammation and cellular injury. Its role in circadian regulation further promotes detoxification by aligning the body's repair and elimination processes with natural sleep-wake cycles. We detoxify the brain during sleep. Quercetin and plastic detox. Quercetin is a plant-based flavonoid. Talked about it a lot during when I was talking about allergies. Strong antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties that support the body's defense against microplastic-induced damage. It helps stabilize cell membranes, reduce oxidative stress, and modulate immune responses triggered by plastic-related toxins. Quercetin also supports liver detox pathways and may inhibit the absorption of effects of endocrine disrupting compounds like BPA and phthalates, making it a valuable ally in plastic detoxification. So again, while you've been taking some of these things for other reasons, they've been helping you with that plastic detox thing. Herbal helpers and extra liver support, chlorella and spirulina. These algae both bind to heavy metals and other toxins, including plastic-related compounds, and help escort them out of the body through the digestive tract. Chlorella is particularly known for its high chlorophyll content and ability to support liver and cellular repair. Spirulina, rich in thioanin and antioxidants, also enhances immune response and protects tissues from oxidative stress. Together, they offer a natural food-based approach to binding, eliminating toxins while nourishing the body at a cellular level. And then herbs like milk thistle and dandelion, two of the most trusted herbs for liver support and detoxification. Milk thistle contain, especially when addressing the burden of microplastic-related toxins, milk thistle contains silymarin, compound that helps protect liver cells from damage, supports regeneration, boosts glutathione levels, enhancing the liver's ability to neutralize and eliminate plastic-derived chemicals like BPA and phthalates. Dandelion acts as a gentle liver and kidney tonic, stimulating bile flow and promoting the excretion of waste products through both urine and stool. Together, they can help. Turmeric, green tea, and okra. Okra, yeah. Okra. My mother was from the South, and okra. My mother used to say, if you're going to eat okra, make sure you're sitting down because it is so mucilaginous. It just goes right through you. But anyway, offer unique complementary benefits for detoxifying the body from microplastic-related damage. Turmeric, rich in curcumin, is a powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant that helps reduce cellular stress caused by plastic toxins and supports liver detoxification enzymes. Green tea contains catechins, particularly EGCG, which protect against DNA damage. enhance antioxidant defenses, and may help block the harmful effects of endocrine disrupting compounds like BPA. Okra, often overlooked, contains mucilaginous fiber that soothes and protects the gut lining while binding toxins, including microplastics, for elimination. Together, these three support cellular protection, toxin clearance, and gut integrity in the face of plastic exposure. Do a little more research into okra if you're interested, because okra is very helpful for gut health in other ways. Aloe and fenugreek, gut supportive botanicals that are valuable in detoxifying microplastics from the body. Aloe vera contains polysaccharides and anti-inflammatory compounds that help repair and protect the intestinal lining, where microplastics often accumulate and cause irritation or permeability. It also promotes gentle elimination and supports immune function in the gut. Fenugreek, rich in mucilage and antioxidants, acts as an emulsant, coating and calming the digestive tract while binding toxins and supporting bowel regularity. So together they can help with the removal and reducing the inflammation. So then you can use binders. If you feel like you're really in a need of really getting some detox going, you can do the things that we use for like mycoplasmas and things like that, like charcoal, bentonite clays, zeolite, psyllium. Binding these things, moving them out of your body. So you can also find these as supplements and use them. They work very well. Binders work very well along with things like glutathione that first, that get these things and then they mobilize them out. So, and then some people might be damaged enough you need gut and microbiome repair. So then you want to kind of go full tilt on all of this, right? If you're in a place where you've really been compromised and your gut is in bad shape, rebuilding the gut lining with things like L-glutamine, marshmallow root, probiotics, fermented foods, reducing gut permeability, leaky gut. So healing the gut when needed. Rebuilding the gut lining is essential for restoring barrier function and reducing the systematic impact of microplastics that accumulate and cause inflammation in the digestive tract to begin with. Key strategies include using L-glutamine and amino acid that fuels intestinal cells and promotes mucosal repair. Sodium butyrate, a short-chain fatty acid that nourishes colonocytes and strengthens tight junctions. Marshmallow root, rich in soothing mucilage, forms a protective coating along the gut lining, reducing inner irritation and supporting healing. Probiotics and fermented foods can help repopulate beneficial gut flora, which not only outcompete harmful microbes, but also contribute to mucosal integrity and immune resilience. Together, these interventions can create a foundation for gut healing, essential for detoxifying and protecting the body from microplastic-induced damage. Now, I will say, like for a person like me, I want ongoing detoxification from microplastics. So I'm basically going to use the same things I always use, the vitamins and minerals and all of that stuff that I use, my glutathione. And that's just always been ongoing. But maybe you're a person who's not done that, or you've had other things happen to you and your gut is kind of like really out of whack, or things aren't right, or you just want to make sure it is, doing things to address that, even for a temporary time, be beneficial. Environmental empowerment, use filtered water, glass, stainless steel instead of plastic, avoid microwaving in plastic, say no to receipts, synthetic clothes, and bottled water. And I'm like, receipts, what's wrong with those? Register receipts often contain a coating of BPA or its chemical cousin, BPS, both of which are plastic-derived compounds used to make thermal paper react to heat. When we handle these receipts, especially with bare hands, the BPA or BPS can absorb through the skin and enter the bloodstream, particularly if the skin is moist, warm, or has lotion on it. These compounds act as endocrine disruptors, mimicking estrogen and contributing to hormonal imbalance, reproductive issues, and metabolic disruption. The receipts don't contain microplastics in the traditional sense. They are a direct exposure route to plastic-derived toxins. Great. That's not good for us here at Wondrous Roots who are handling cash register receipts. Well, you know what I mean? Day in, day out. If you're just a consumer, just say, I don't want the receipt, right? Unless you really need it. And we don't want to put on a plastic glove, right? To keep from touching them. I don't know. Where do you go with that? I'm just thinking you could take masking tape maybe. And if you were constantly at the register, take masking tape and the fingers that you use to pull those off for people. You could protect yourself that way. Xenoestrogens, again, are synthetic or naturally occurring chemical compounds that mimic the effects of estrogen in the body, but are not produced by the body itself. These compounds can bind to estrogen receptors and disrupt normal hormone signaling, leading to imbalances that affect reproductive health, metabolism, and cancer risk. Again, we are there. We have so many of those around. And microwaving plastic, don't do that. I say don't microwave anything, period. But with regard to plastics, microwaving food in plastic containers can significantly increase your exposure to xenoestrogens, particularly chemicals like BPA, BPS, and phthalates that are commonly used to make plastics flexible or heat resistant. Detoxing estrogens, again, glutathione, iodine, selenium. Deals with the estrogens in your body. Yes, you can use things like diindolylmethane I was talking about earlier, but those are the key things I go to for detoxing xenoestrogens. The plastic wrap out, a Wondrous handy wrap. Where we are with this today, as I see it, in a world where plastics are woven into nearly every corner of modern life, it's no surprise they've made their way into our bodies, but rather than feel helpless or overwhelmed, we can take informed, proactive steps to protect ourselves. Understanding how they affect our health, especially through microplastic, is the first step. The second, supporting our body's detoxification pathways, protecting our gut and hormone system, and reducing exposure wherever possible. We may not be able to escape plastic entirely, but we can certainly strengthen our defenses and reclaim our internal environment. The good news is this: we're already equipped with many of the tools. Now it's just a matter of putting them to work. So bullet point actionable items here: ditch plastic water bottles and food containers, avoid microwaving and plastics, say no to thermal receipts, wear and wash natural fibers, use water filters, boost antioxidant intake, add detox support, repair the gut, use natural binders, support estrogen detox, get sleep, support circadian rhythms, reduce personal care product exposure, choose clean, fragrance-free, phthalate-free products, like all of the products you will find here at Wondrous Roots. We have a wonderful skincare line. We've got shampoo and conditioner that cater to those concerns. Empower your biology, evict the plastic. And then that takes us to the end today. Next week, I think what I'm going to do is actually talk about, I'm going to talk about pesticides because I really have to. But I've talked about pesticides a lot when I was talking about a lot of things. Glyphosate, right? I've talked about that a lot, but I'll do it in a pesticide thing. And then I'll probably, along with that, talk about the most pesticide-laden crops. Yeah, that's what I'll do. And that's going to wrap up the Stop Eating Crap, CRAP series. I think my next series, I actually want to talk about something really interesting called, oh gosh, it's a P word. Well, I can't think of it at the moment. Plasmalogens, okay, that we need. The more plasmalogens we have in our bodies and our blood, the healthier our brain is, the healthier our cardiovascular. It's what we get from omega-3, but we can actually take plasmalogens. So that's something new to me. So I want to talk about that. And then I think I'm going to get into a series on the 5 senses: the eyes, ears, sight, hearing, taste, smell, touch. Thanks so much, Cindy. Thank you. And thanks everybody for being here. So anyway, I really want to delve into that. What are the problems that happens with people's ears? Tinnitus, dizziness, hearing loss, like the eyes, all of the eye things, the nose, smelling, taste, and all of that. Like delving into how they all work wondrously, and then what goes wrong, and then how to preserve them and how to correct problems that are going on with those things. So in any case, I'm going to let you go. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. It's going to be here in Keene, New Hampshire. We got some rain today, but it looks like tomorrow's going to be really nice, or at least not rainy. And whatever the weather, we'll just continue to thrive and enjoy life, won't we? Anyway, I hope you do. And I hope, thanks again for being here, everybody. And be well.